Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Joelle Simone Anthony. I'm also known as the Grave Woman, and if this is your first time here, I ask that you hit the subscription button as well as the notification bell so that you can be updated anytime I upload new content. So today I am talking all about being a plus size woman working in the death care industry. Um, I really wanted to have this discussion because I've gotten a lot of questions from ladies, especially, who've been asking me questions like, where do I buy my clothes? What things have I struggled with? And what challenges have I had being a plus size woman in the death care industry? I am going to be honest, there are some challenges that come along with being plus size. And that first thing, as I mentioned, especially 12 years ago when I got started working in death care, was finding clothes that fit my body and made me feel not only professional but attractive and sexy and beautiful. I shop a lot at places like Torrid, Old Navy, H&M, Walmart, Cacique, a lot of underwear and bras and things like that, especially for strapless bras, Ashley Stewart. But back in 2010, when I started working in the death care industry in the cemetery, there were only like 3 or 4 places to go shopping in person. But now companies have really started incorporating plus size, especially professional wear, in their line. I remember when my grandfather passed away in 2008, I was trying to find something to wear to his funeral. Now, I hadn't started working in death care at this time, but was trying to find something to wear to his funeral, and I really only had three options. That was Avenue, Lane Bryant, or what's the other one? Avenue, Lane Bryant, and Catherine's. And I remember going in the store and feeling like everything just looked like it was for an older woman. And at this time, I may have been 22, 23 years old. And I remember thinking, if I want to get into the death care industry, I wasn't even in mortuary school or working in a funeral home at this point. But if I want to get into the death care industry, I'm going to have to find professional clothes that fit my body and that make me feel confident and comfortable and look professional. And if this is all I have to choose from, then I don't know how this is going to work. I am a girly girl. I love to dress up. I love to wear accents, as you can see, accessories. And I like for my clothes to look not trendy, but I like to keep up with the style of, whatever's popular. But then I kind of have my own look. So finding clothes was a big deal for me. Luckily, today, you can find plus size clothes everywhere. You can find them online. You can find them at just about any store that you go into. I love the Worthington collection from J.C. Penney. I think that their clothes are just professional and they fit my body the way that I really like. Um, I also like, what's her name? She used to be a big TV star. I can't remember right now, but I'll try to find her name and list her down below. She has an amazing plus size collection that's sold at J.C. Penney. As a matter of fact, I'm going to put her name in the video after I finish. I'll edit it in here. But so finding clothes was a big problem for me, or a big challenge for me. Like I said, today you can go into a store and pick out plus size fashions anywhere. I tend to stay away from the fast fashion. I like to purchase items that are of high quality, items that are going to last me a long time, especially working in death care. As you know, we have to sometimes get dirty, bend down and clean off grave markers, lift, move caskets, boxes, flowers, things like that. So that opens up to the second challenge. There are physical challenges that I face being a plus size woman in death care. For a smaller person, it's a lot easier to get down on your knees and clean off a headstone or grave marker before the family gets there for the service when you're setting up. It's a lot easier for a smaller person to carry heavy flower arrangements without getting out of breath or getting fatigued a lot sooner than I would. It's a lot easier for a smaller person to stand up hours on end or sit in the same position hours on end as we're required to do when we're working services or standing services. It's easier for a smaller person to get in and out of small corners when you're on a removal. That's not something that I do anymore at this point in my career, but that was a challenge for me when I was going on removals, lifting the deceased, getting them onto the removal cot if they were on the floor or if they were in the bed or on a chair. That was a struggle for me. I have to be honest about it. However, it's not something that I let limit me. I'm a lot stronger than you might think I am just by looking at me. However, it it took a toll on my body as far as my joints and my muscles, and not necessarily having injuries due to that, but I know that my weight played a role in some of the wear and tear I've experienced throughout my career. So if you are a plus size individual, there are things that you can do, like doing squats or working out or walking, just to build up that muscle. However, I think the biggest challenge that I've faced is overcoming people's negative assumptions about me because of my weight. There have been times where people, coworkers, owners, people in professional settings, and even families have said some things or made some insensitive comments about my size, and it has hurt my feelings. It has made me feel like, wow, there's something wrong with me, or I'm not being taken seriously as a professional. However, at the end of the day, I had to just make up my mind that regardless of what size I am, I have to love and accept myself for who I am. I can always strive to be the best version of myself, no matter what that looks like, whether that's currently a size 26 or in the future or in the past a size 18. You know, I I have to be okay with me, and you have to be okay with who you are, whether it's your weight, whether it's your appearance, whether it's a physical or a mental disability, whether it's just the way that you feel about yourself related to anything. You have to be okay with who you are, and I think that's the biggest takeaway um, that I can give to anyone, and the biggest words of support that I can give to anyone. You're worthy, you're beautiful, you're deserving, and you're accepted, and you can be the best that you can be at your current state while working to become the best version of yourself, no matter what that looks like. I grew up with a very positive plus size role model. When I was a little girl, my mother was a bigger woman, and she always looked her best, smelled her best, presented herself to the world in the best way possible. My mother's absolutely gorgeous. I'm not going to post a picture of her in here because she'll lose her mind, but if you look at my Instagram feed, you'll see a picture of her there. But my mother has always carried herself with such pride and grace. And when I was a junior in college, she had weight loss surgery due to some health issues she was experiencing with her knees and her back. And even now, since the weight loss surgery, she's still a very shapely, curvy, beautiful woman. And I guess just seeing that example as a little girl, because I haven't always been big. I used to be very small, but like I said, there's been some things that have happened with my health. And in my last video, I talked about issues with my cycle and hormones and possibly PCOS. And those things have all contributed to me gaining weight over the years. And I think just having that example of my mom has really instilled in me that no matter what size you are, people tend to look at the outside and think that they can spot a flaw within you because you're a bigger person. However, maybe your flaw isn't on the outside the way that, and I don't want to say that my size is a flaw because it's not, but maybe what you consider to be wrong with me is on the outside, but maybe there's something going on with you that I can't necessarily see from the outside. So just having that example of my mom and other women in my life that were big and beautiful and voluptuous and carried themselves with pride and grace and just beautiful spirits really, I think, got into my subconscious. And like I said, I'm not going to pretend like I haven't struggled with self-esteem issues. And all of my self-esteem issues weren't even tied to my weight. But when it comes to weight, I did struggle with some self-perception, self-worth, and self-love. However, at the end of the day, I just said screw it, because I'm not going to let other people's perception of me and other people's ideas about who I have to be or the box I have to fit into or what I'm capable of because of my size define who I am and the way that I live my life. I used to be a person that wasn't really as confident as I am now about my weight, especially after having missed out on what I feel were amazing opportunities because maybe the person considering me for those opportunities thought that there weren't things that I could do or that I wasn't capable of because of my weight. And I've always worked very hard not to overcompensate, but to be the best that I can be. However, not too long ago, I made up my mind that it's not my job to prove my ability to you or to make you feel comfortable with my weight. I'm capable of doing this job. I'm capable of having conversations with families. There's nothing wrong with my mind. There's nothing wrong with my heart. And when I show up, not only at work but in life, I give 110%. And if I'm looked over for an opportunity because of being a plus size woman or being a larger person, it just is what it is at this point. I don't go out of my way to make other people comfortable with my size or to explain that there are health issues that are tied to my weight fluctuating up and down. Of course, just like anybody else, I could probably afford to exercise more or lose a few pounds. However, I know what's going on with my body. I know what's going on within my person and within my heart. And I'm okay with who I am. I strive to be the best version of myself in every situation. And I'm an amazing person inside and out if you take the time to get to know me. So I don't try to compensate or explain or make people comfortable with my size or my weight anymore. But that is something that I used to do in the past. Another thing about being a plus size person in death care, if you are on a weight loss journey, especially here in the South, it's like food is attached to love and attached to grief and mourning. There's always food around. Like, I always have access to food, whether it's at the funeral home, whether it's at the repast, whether it's at the family's house that I'm working with, whether it's the family bringing or sending food to the funeral home as a thank you. There's always access to food. So over the years, I've become very disciplined about what I eat, when I eat, and how much of it I eat. But in the beginning, it was very hard because I mean, it's almost like when you're sitting at the funeral home because you're not always busy, you're not always running around, and there's that quiet time. There's two things that are going to happen. You're going to start talking and you're going to start eating because you just want to get through the time if there's nothing to do, and there's always food available. So I would encourage anyone, if you are on a weight loss journey or if you are someone who's self-conscious about your weight and you're wanting to get into the death care industry, just be very aware that you're going to always have access to food in some form or another, whether it's sweets, home cooked meals, casseroles, just somebody bringing lunch by the funeral home ordering lunch, because a lot of times we don't get a chance to stop or heat up our lunch, just the funeral home ordering lunch and having food available, or breakfast or dinner, whatever. Try to be disciplined about what you eat, how much you eat, and when you eat it. I try not to eat late at night anymore, but that was honestly one of my favorite things to do. It was kind of how I relaxed after a long day. I'm not a big sweets person, however, I do enjoy sweets from time to time, but I'm telling you, in death care, there's always food around and there's always something sweet around, so just monitor that. I hope this video was informative and that it helps someone, especially plus size women in the death care industry, whether you're a death doula, death care professional, a hospice nurse, whatever your career is, even if it isn't in death care. I hope that seeing this video in some way empowers you and lets you know that you're beautiful and that you're accepted and lovable and 100% worthy of opportunity and capable of doing whatever it is that you put your mind to, regardless of your weight. One of the benefits of being a plus size woman, especially in death care, and especially with my personality, is that I give amazing hugs. And people always tell me that my hugs remind them of their grandmother or remind them of just a moment in their life where they felt super loved. And I think a lot of that is because of my size. When I hug you with everything I got, and you're going to know that I'm putting some love into you. So with that, live life, love hard, and remember that you are beautiful regardless of what size you are. Talk to you later.